Well, Deion's 100% right. It doesn't warrant people to be threatening him and his family. You know, and I think for the most part, you would hope that it's calmed down, that that's not the case. They can go on now and play football and live their lives without having to worry about some craziness that took place after the game on Saturday. That's it. There's nothing else really. Deion said it. I mean, it's a kid. Right. Like he said, people get death threats all the time because that's social media. That's what people do. They don't like what we say. They get mad. At the end of the day, we know how to absorb that and navigate around that to a degree. This is a kid that, you know, he doesn't understand this. He's not at the professional level.
You always hear about people not using their platform the right way and oh, man, you don't understand. You're a hero to people and you're not speaking. This is Prime being exactly what he should be. He understands his platform, his influence, his audience, and how this will be received. He's doing a fantastic job of being a good human and showing what a good human should look like in terms of having empathy and compassion for the next person, regardless of the situation, having forgiveness and preaching that and showing it on an everyday basis. So it's appreciated what he's saying, because a person like him saying it resonates with the world, and it resonates from one part of the world to another part of the world. And I think that's the kind of positive message we need right now.
I hear you. I second that emotion. And forgive me if I go a little too deep here, but what I love the most about Deion Sanders is he is legitimately spiritual. If you talk to Michael Irvin, you talk to Lil Wayne, who are very close to him, he is driven by his spirituality. And I'm going to point back out. There was a time in 1997, and Deion wrote a whole book about this. And the book was called Power, Money, and Sex, How Success Almost Ruined My Life. He got so low, he's going through a divorce, that he finally decided to end it all. And he drove his whatever.
Mercedes?
Was it a Ferrari or Mercedes?
I think it was Mercedes.
Okay. He drove it right over a literal cliff and fell 30 to 40 feet to what he thought would be his death. And you can say he was just lucky, or maybe God above said, no, you got some work left to do here. But whatever, as Deion is I quote him from his book, I finally just got on my knees and gave it all to the Lord. Sports is sports. It's a game, but my faith is everything. Okay, there are a lot of phony Christians out there. There are a lot of charlatans. There are a lot of false prophets. This is just me, and I've done a lot of homework on this, because I'll be the first to tell you when somebody's a phony. He's for real. He's legit. He believes his calling is to touch the lives of those kids he's coaching and make them better humans, if not better football players. Because a few of them will go on to play the game you guys played at the highest level, but a whole bunch of them will just go right on into life. And he's trying to touch those kids. And he's trying to touch Henry Blackburn right now, just to say, look, because he knows he's a pretty good football player. He gave him high marks for his performance the other night. He plays his tail off. He wants to graduate with honors. He would like to take a shot at playing the game that you played at the highest level. And Deion's saying, pray for this kid, because he got put in harm's way. He made a mistake. We all agree he made a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure Henry would tell you, if we had him on, I lost it for a second. I believe they were coached to take all the shots they could take. It's why they wound up with 17 penalties for 182 yards. It was the most penalties in any college football game in 6 years. Just put that in the back of your head and make that compute. So you can tell they were coached as the hopeless underdog. They were 23-point dogs. And it's a one-sided rivalry. They're rivals of Colorado. Colorado didn't really care about Colorado State until their coach said what he said about Coach Prime. And all of a sudden, it's on, and it's chippy, and it got a little over-emotional. It got heated. And by the way, Colorado State came out firing. And I look up, and it's like, wait a second. It's 14-7. When that happened, it was 14-7. So he's thinking, Travis is playing both ways. This kid played both ways in high school and made first-team All-State as a receiver and a safety. So he gets it. He knows what's going on. Take your pound of flesh. So you're a little late with your pound of flesh. And it was a dirty play. It was a cheap shot. And unfortunately, he hit him just the right way that it lacerated his liver. Not life-threatening. He's going to be okay, but it's going to cost him, and it just tore you apart on Monday. It's going to cost him at Oregon. It's going to cost him USC and Caleb at Colorado, and probably cost him at Arizona State. And it's just the heart of the schedule as they're arriving. You don't have a player that you said could go first in the draft like you did.
I mean, we're talking about it's going to cost more than that for him. And that's what's frustrating to me. I get mad every time I think about it because you talk about the Thorpe. You talk about the Bolitnikov.
Yes.
You talk about the Rodney Lott Trophy.
Yeah.
He could have been eligible for all of it. Have you ever heard of a guy
Trophy.
being in the final for the Thorpe and the Bolitnikov?
He probably could.
Maybe, but he would have definitely been in it with the rest of the games because he would have been showcased on prime time versus really good teams. He's a good player, so he'd have performed well. But but even Travis Hunter. We talk about Travis Hunter and the player he is, but think about the person he is and the comments he made. He took a chance. He took a stand on his podcast, on his opportunity to speak on the big stage, and also preach forgiveness for the kid. And how can even fans of the program, fans of Deion, fans of Travis Hunter, have more anger and more animosity than the victim of the transgression? You cannot. So if the kid is forgiving it, if the kid is saying, hey, that's it. I forgive him. It was a football play. I'm out there. I'm a man in the arena. LeBron always preaches man in the arena. You got to be in the arena. But if he's forgiving him, then world, America, forgive the kid. Everybody makes mistakes, especially in the heat of the battle. Football is such a violent game. It's such an emotional game. You get fired up. You like you said, I go overboard sometimes. I used to go overboard. I used to hit a spot, go red.
You still do it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's just who I am.
But who you are.
It's really cool to hear so much positive coming out of Colorado's side with Travis and Deion.
Now that we're at Wednesday, I think it's probably kind of calmed down a little bit. Now
I hope so.
You've heard from Deion. Emotions run high after games. Fans, players, media outlets, all this sort of stuff. Now that we're at Wednesday, the Colorado Buffaloes football teams kind of put that behind them, and now they're moving on to Oregon. I would think that based on what Travis said, Deion said, it has resonated to whoever was the first person to put out addresses and phone numbers to now say, okay, all right, it's all over with now. We're moving on with it.
Hey, when the head guy sends the message, just stop it. Then I think it resonates. It connects. It hits home with the craziest psychos out there. Oh, Deion said I should back off, stand down a little bit here. Okay, I got it. Now, let's look at the flip side of this, because Shiloh had another comment that was against the grain on this. Shiloh, his son, obviously, because now we're going biblical again. We got the New Testament versus the Old Testament. We got Deion saying you should turn the other cheek, doing the New Testament. But Shiloh is saying, no, it's an eye for an eye, because his comments were yesterday to the media, I really wanted to whoop that dude for real after the game or something. He said, if I just see him around here somewhere, he got to watch out. Okay, I get it. I get it, because you might have had that emotion on Saturday night. Maybe not on Tuesday. Maybe you would have calmed down a little bit. But Shiloh and Shadeur's got an edge to him that even Deion doesn't have. And Deion was so happy that his son defended him to Jay Norvell, because when they met at midfield, Shadeur's like bodyguarding Deion like he wants a piece of Jay Norvell. And Deion told Lil Wayne, I love my son for that, because it really showed me something that's how you want your son to be there to protect you and stand for you.
Well, all it is Deion at that age. It's spicy. I mean, think about it. When him and Dre Rison went at it on the field, and they were swinging, throwing real blows. At least Deion was throwing real blows for the most part. But when you talk about Shiloh, all that emotion again after a game, he's speaking to after the game. If he had an opportunity to see the kid after the game, he would have threw blows with him. But that's after the game. We're now on Wednesday. If you asked him that same question... I
mean, he did say this yesterday.
No, but he's answering a question about the way he felt. But I'm saying if you ask him this right now, based on what his dad said, Travis Hunter, he'd have a totally 360-degree change on everything.
But I think I know you two well enough. If by chance that had happened to one of your teammates and after the game, you just happened to walk into the same club
Well,
with
we would
Henry
have,
Blackburn,
but
have something to
that's
say about
after
it,
the
right?
game, though.
Okay,
So
I
we
know.
don't know. We don't know what's going on with our teammate.
No.
Is he bleeding internally? Like so emotionally you feel a certain way. Remember that calm down period you talk about? Give it a 48-hour calm down period.
I do 24 hours.
Or 24. Yeah, then you're just better.
I can't. I'm not mad at Shiloh if something happened in the game. Like I said, usually in that situation, old school, you say, hey, crackback block. We running at 11. We're gonna get our eye for an eye between the lines because he got his between the lines. He didn't go sneak on nobody in the locker room. He didn't do anything. So I'm good with Shiloh and being frustrated. He's a kid.
Yeah, one of my big tackles will go dig 11 out and find him.
Right, and then you pancake him. He gonna have a rough game.
Pick him up again and pancake him. Pick him up again.
And I believe both of you gave the Colorado bench high marks for staying put.
Well, the Colorado bench, 100%. Because people out there was expecting for it to be a riot, so to speak, because they thinking Deion's not coaching a disciplined team. They screamed him, but nobody ran on the field. Nobody did anything. On the field, the 11 men on the offensive side of the ball, if I see 11, I might tell my tackle, when we toss the ball out, I'm going to switch responsibilities with you, and you go handle him.
Go handle it.
Because you're bigger than me, so you can go and really do damage to him.
Okay, that's fighting fire with fire because that's how they were playing against you.
That's what you do.
Okay, good. Then I'm fine with that. But only one Colorado Buffalo ran and got in the face of Henry Blackburn. And it was the quarterback who ran all the way up the field and got right in his face.
Remember, he's not a traditional QB.
He is not.
He is not. And what I mean by traditional, I'm talking about thought process. I'm not talking about skill set because his skills is off the charts.
They are.
I'm just talking about quarterbacks are typical coaches' sons. They handle things a certain way. Like, I'm the guy in the back room. I got my offensive line to defend me. I'm not worried about anything. That's not Shedeur. Shedeur is like a feisty wide receiver, defensive back.
He is.
Rolled into a quarterback position.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Okay, like Jalen Hurts is a coach's kid. He wouldn't react this way.
But also, we talk about the discipline of Prime's team.
Yeah.
Them kids wasn't Prime was talking about, hey, how they were gonna run for them penalties the other day. Them kids ain't risking the run in or the punishment that's gonna come with the penalty. But you know who has that leeway? Shedeur. Shedeur ain't worried about it. Look, I talk to my dad. My dad's gonna understand where I'm coming from when I go talk to this dude. If I potentially get a penalty, it's gonna be a different reaction than hey, number 78 coming over here and putting him to the ground and getting a penalty. It's going to be a whole different reaction. So I respect and I think people should admire the discipline because when that play happened, like you said, the sideline didn't react. What they did was go see Travis Hunter. The dude was standing right there on the sideline, and they went directly to Travis Hunter. That shows the love and respect, but it's just a deep discipline. Because I don't know if I'm in the National Football League, it happens on my sideline, you getting at least grabbed up real quick.
The league, we a little bit different in the league. College, it's just the responsibility that Deion has of all the kids, right?
Yep.
They respect him. They understand where he's coming from. His program is as disciplined as they come. Some coaches in college football that have won at the highest level, if that would happen on their sideline, their team ain't got that discipline.
Right. No.
People will want you to believe that. People will want you to say, they're really disciplined. It's like, no, bruh. That was discipline and restraint from his sideline, not going and grabbing that guy up. In fact, he got to the middle of the field. Shedeur had to track all the way down to get him because nobody was even going to do it. And it wasn't because they were afraid to do it. It's just because they're disciplined and they do it a different way.
They have been taught the right way to play football. And I do also love your other point. Shedeur is Deion at 21 because Shedeur's 21 years of age. Listen, Deion would have been.
He flexes the watch. That's so Deion. I got pictures in my phone when Deion is flexing with me, so I know.
But Deion didn't tell him to do it. He just got it.
It's natural.
It just came, and it was his idea to do it.
Sound like father.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.